Welcome. So
Thanks.
you are
Thanks for having me.
no no problem. This is the second episode of what I think I will call now to the sky. So because that is our goal. Our goal is to the sky. So I would like to introduce my guest Trez. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Uh, sure. Well, I met you in in uni in the same class,
Mm.
but I'm mostly interested in 3D modeling.
Hmm.
So anything 3D, whether it's cinematics, games, anything really.
Wonderful. All right. So the number one question I would really like to enforce in this show:
hmm
Are you always learning?
Yes, every day. I think that's
Excellent.
something big that we learned from uni, uni as well. Yeah, I'm learning every day.
So we
Doesn't
didn't
matter what.
leave university with 100% knowledge and ready to tackle the world.
Nope.
Ah, so do you have a new thing that you learned this morning then, or today?
Uh, yes,
Mm.
actually. Today I learned about anisotropic materials when it
Ooh.
comes to 3D. It's something I didn't know actually, or the word anisotropy,
Mm.
anisotropy. Um, it's basically depending on what angle you look at something, it changes the property or for materials in 3D. It's basically, for example, wood looks more. Say you have a shiny surface, it'll
Mm.
look shiny from one angle, but more uh, Lambert flat,
Dull, flat. Is
dull.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's less shiny, I guess. You're right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. That
So that's what
is
I learned
that
about this
is
morning.
that is awesome. I mean, honestly, I don't know a lot about texturing, but that is, I guess, another way of looking at environments. Like especially when it comes to movies, something like what always amazes me is like Pixar, right? I am always amazed with with how their animation looks like, their textures in their house
hmm
and their clothing. Always fascinates me, even without looking human shaped, like just like the Incredibles, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
More stylized.
Yeah, yeah, but I feel like stylized is dangerous. Honestly, I mean, I've I think I've seen many projects in my past of the word stylized getting lost of
Yeah, yeah.
in the ether. All right. So some more specific questions, right?
hmm
Is there a current project that you're working on at the moment? Like any side projects or main project you're working on?
Current project.
Hmm.
It's actually a commission for someone.
Wow.
Um, so they
Congratulations.
thank you.
Hmm.
So they messaged me on Twitter and they asked me. They sent me some photos, some references, and they want me to make a avatar for them for VR chat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Um, and that was yeah. So far, it's going really well. I made a block out for them, and then I
Hmm.
showed them and asked them what they thought, and if want to revise or anything. And yeah, they're quite happy with it.
So I remember a long time ago when I was like lurking through forums, right? You used to
hmm
have some sort of I guess you would call it a banner at the bottom of your every post at like a forums and stuff. And it used to be uh people used to commission for stuff like that. I never done it. I never commissioned. I never bought anything. But I've heard stories for some of my friends who used to make banners for forums. I guess it's just a new evolution for VR chat. That's awesome. Can you
Yeah,
talk about what is the character or object that you're making? Your
yeah.
commissioner, if you're allowed to talk to it, talk
Oh
about it.
yeah, yeah. That's fine.
Mm.
It's basically like a hmm, their persona is it's kind of like a mix between like a dragon and a wolf girl.
So animal, I guess, right? Or
It's a
non-human feature, yeah.
yeah, yeah, but it's a mix. It's
Mm.
like anthropomorphic
Mm. Mm.
animal person. Yeah.
Ah, what is I'm not sure if you've made much VR chat uh what
No
do you call it
avatars.
avatars before.
Yep.
Did you learn anything interesting? I mean, what was the process like for you?
Um, I would say, well, this is I would say my second one. So my
Oh, all
first
right.
one, my last project was actually my very first like VR chat character. So there was a
Ah,
lot of learning to do
okay.
with it. It was so I had to learn about well shaders and everything in Unity.
Mm,
So for me, it wasn't just learning about uh, the modeling side, but it was also things in Unity that I had to get set up. Um,
mm.
Getting things like dynamic bones, which make things like jiggle around. So my last character was a shark person.
That's
So
cool.
like, so I made like his tail like move around. So when you spin it, like
Oh.
it'll like wobble around. Yeah.
Mm,
So
mm.
lots of things.
Did you just make this in Blender, if you don't mind me asking, or?
So it was a mix of a couple of programs.
Mm,
I
okay,
started in ZBrush, which
okay.
is usually used for sculpting. So I blocked it out, sculpted in ZBrush. Then I move it over to Maya to retopologize. So that's to make the character usable, so you can bend it and move it and
Ah,
everything.
okay. Yeah.
Um, and then from there, I moved it to Blender because I'm not very. I don't. I still need to learn Maya's
Mm,
rigging tools, but I remember learning Blender's rigging tools in uni.
yeah.
So I just moved it to there because I'm comfortable with that. And yeah, I set it up and got it kind of moving the way I want it. And then from there to Unity and Unity to VR chat.
Mm. That is that's an interesting process, right? Like I'm not super into 3D modeling and stuff. I thought all you needed was uh just Blender. See, that's where it came in. So I'm glad that you explained that to me. Um, is there any past project that you're particularly proud of? You know, the one that you've finished that you're quite happy about that you want to talk about?
I I actually enjoyed the last one, the most recent. Well, yeah, the most recently completed one, the
Mm,
shark person,
okay.
um, because well, originally it started off just as like a side project, but an artist I follow on Twitter, he said like, "Oh, does anyone do commissions?" I didn't ask for money or
Mm,
anything. I just decided to make it as a
mm,
fan project. And then I showed it to him and I gave it to him for him to use, and he was really happy with it. Um, and so he wanted to send me a tip. So, but in terms of the project, like I really enjoyed learning a lot from it.
mm,
Um, but also I really liked just how it turned out. Really, like with the physics that I
mm.
learned to add physics, and it was very stylized.
Okay.
And yeah, there was a lot of learning. The shaders,
So
it now looks really cartoony, and it's yeah, I
yeah,
really like it.
that's exciting. I mean, I'm happy for you. So you said it's stylized, right? Did
Yeah.
you follow the artist's style, or like where did you come up with the style for the shark as opposed to just a very realistic shark?
So yeah, I followed the concept kind of as closely as I could,
Mm,
but obviously you do have to make some tweaks because in 3D, when you're copying 2D characters, some things don't work out as well. For example, the front of the face in the drawing, the eyes are very close, almost like
mm,
a human, like this.
mm.
But it didn't really work for the side view, so
Uh,
I had to copy the side view, and and then yeah, it still looks good from the front, but not exactly perfect.
I,
Like
I I like that. You know, you're solving an issue, and you did your magic on it. Yeah. So I mean, between these two projects, did you use the same tools? I guess in terms of ZBrush and stuff like
um
that.
yeah, same tools. Yeah, to ZBrush to Maya, but I do hope that in future I can stick to either Maya or Blender because I moved to Blender because I was more confident with
Mm.
rigging, but I do want to learn rigging. All of the same principles apply. It's just learning the tool, really.
Yeah, I mean that's very similar to programming. So it's everybody, can learn to program, I guess. I'm confident in some more programs than others, even though they're very similar in terms of what they're trying to achieve, right?
Mm,
So, yeah, that's. I'm really glad that it worked out. Just kind of going back to your just the commission conversation that you initially kind of want to ask for it. I want to talk to you about like during in university we were introduced to Tumblr, and there are many artists on Tumblr. Some saying that they're trying to make their living through commissions and
mm,
stuff like that. I think you should not devalue your work. I think
mm,
you should never believe that, oh, my work is not good enough or small enough to worth money. I think any amount of work, especially if you're doing it for other people, unless it's for like a donation or it's a like essentially it's no monetary gain. You should always believe that you can earn something, even though you're not gonna price it like $100 or something crazy, right? Yeah.
mm.
And don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to say, I spent 50 hours on this, even though it doesn't look like you think you spent like 50 hours on it, but that's time well spent. Your time is very valuable,
Yeah.
and I think that should be empowered to a lot of artists.
Yeah, no, I was doing research on commissions before, like,
Mm,
I'm now trying to start slowly getting into it and
mm,
like figuring out how to do, pricing and everything.
mm,
But when I was doing the research, um, yeah, a lot of people said the same thing,
mm.
but also the problem is when people do, when you're new, you feel like your work isn't worth much,
Yep.
so you make your price lower. But that also long term it's really bad
Yep.
for the community, I would say, because if everybody's making their prices lower, it kind of devalues everyone's work.
Yeah, so everybody's fighting for $10, and some guy posts for $8, right? And everybody just
Yeah.
keeps sinking lower and lower. So that's why I really want you to really value your time, and I think
mm,
that's
mm.
that's that's really good. You're not
It,
doing
it,
this at full
no,
time at all, right?
it's not it's just kind of a side thing for
Mm.
now, but maybe in future we'll see.
Well, okay, what does that future look like? Can you tell me like what
Mhm.
what do you envision? Do you envision yourself working at a I don't know at Pixar, or do you want to start your own company, or
Yeah,
what do you want to do?
I mean, yeah, the dream, it started from watching Disney movies and
Mm,
everything. um for now, I feel like, yeah, getting into the freelancing is good. It's probably going to help a little bit
mm,
improve my skills and everything. But I do hope that in future I would like to join a studio.
mm.
Um, I think being able to work closely with artists as well is really fun and really good. Um, just the collaboration. It's similar to what we did in uni,
Mm.
like talking between different groups
Yeah.
and bringing the ideas together. Yeah, I enjoy that.
One thing I do really agree on is coming together or working together. I think I did kind of screw up in my second and third year in terms of uni. Is I kind
Mm,
of focused too hard on myself. Like not
mm,
focused too much hard, but like I decided to work by myself.
mm, mm.
And looking back at it, I think I should have accepted and taken on board what I think criticism would have come with it. Because maybe that was part of the reason that I chose to work by myself, because I didn't want to hear anybody
The
else.
Chris, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like maybe it was because I was just I know what to do kind of type deal, and I think I should have not have run away from that. And in saying that, I do agree, especially if we're working this kind of projects, right? I think it'd be cool if we work with like two or three other people,
Mm,
be able to throw back and forth. Somebody's really good at ZBrush, and you can share your Blender skills or something like that, right?
mm, mm.
That's yeah.
Yeah, I would say in uni as well. I kind of learned I learned the same lesson. I think little bit. I think maybe it was second year I did a project by myself,
Mm,
and I think, yeah, I learned like one, it's really difficult when you don't have other people to
yeah,
bounce back ideas with, um, and also two, it's a lot of work.
yeah. Um, So I do agree that yes, it is a lot more work, and some people, or maybe me, try to run away by saying if it's not to your standard or if it's not to my standard, I'll do it. But it means you don't have enough hands to work on a specific project, right? But I've also seen projects that had too many people that
Oh yeah,
can,
yeah, no, definitely.
like, there is a balance. I don't know what I really want to know. It's fascinating because if there's too many, there's no accountability. If there's not enough, then there's not enough manpower, and
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting to learn that lesson there. And I wouldn't even know how to handle that. I feel like some 10-year manager in animation would know. Like, I don't even know how Pixar pushes like a 2 hour movie, right? Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah, it's a lot of
Mm,
work.
mm. You're into your animation. Do you have any information for anybody else who wants to be in animation? Who's people still in uni? What do you think they can do to better themselves?
I think a big point to take on is to really be open to learning.
Okay, yeah.
Like 3D is a big like learning. Well, I wouldn't say learning curve, but there's a lot to learn.
Mm,
Um, because like I said, I don't stick to just one program. I use
mm,
like three or four,
mm.
and once you learn like the principles, you can apply it to any program. So it doesn't matter what program.
Yeah,
Some people debate whether you should use one over the other,
yeah, yeah.
but I think as long as you're learning, yeah, and you got to be self motivated. I would say,
It's probably the hardest thing, honestly.
yeah, it's always the hardest, but
I've been going through this like within the last couple this year and last year of like when you start a thing, when you begin, I feel for me personally, you reach this
mm-hmm.
peak like enthusiasm or drive for this project, and then 2 weeks later, and I'm like, I kind of want to just stare at the ceiling, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I feel that all the time.
Mm.
Like, yeah, that's when you sometimes either move on and start a new project,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you have a bunch of unfinished projects.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I get that. I do that. It
One,
happens.
yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. One thing that's interesting that I learned, I think, very, oh, maybe not quickly enough, is that I feel counter to my point earlier, where I picked my projects to work by myself, right? I feel like I work better if I'm working in a team,
Mm,
because this is how I always have thought about it. If I'm working on a project by myself, it can pass through me very easily. Like, oh, that's good enough for me. Like,
oh yeah, yeah.
it's very easy to me. Oh, that's okay. The border is off by a few millimeters, but I think it's good enough, right? But whenever I feel like I work in a group, oh, this is not good enough. That other person like worked 20 hours on the wheels or something, right? And I feel like I have to work as hard as that person. So
Mm,
like that's why I like this project in particular, because it's not just by myself. I have new people to interact with, and I'm quite happy with that. And there's we get to do this, and I feel like that's very constructive to me.
mm.
Mm.
Yeah, it helps. It's very motivating when you
Yeah.
see you don't want to let other people down.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
it. That's it
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of how I feel with like commissions as well.
Mm, mm.
It's like, yeah, you don't want to let the other person down. So like, yeah, you work hard on it.
I'm just happy that you're not you're not sleeping under your bed trying to just spend them like in your last 10 minutes. Uh so probably the one thing I was happiest about, I learned from BCT, is you have 10 weeks or 13 weeks, however long our uni semester was. You
Mm.
cannot fake a 10-week project.
Oh no.
You really can't. You, there's no way you can hide that. Like you can tell if it's made last
Yeah,
night. There's
yeah.
Yeah. Where can people find you? Where can they
Uh,
find you?
so I have an art station.
Mm,
It's artstation.com/royalty.
mm.
Um, and then I've also got I'll also probably add in my LinkedIn,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then I would say I'm most active on Twitter.
Mm, mm.
Um, I think my handle
Yeah. We'll
it's
post it all at the bottom. Just send it
yeah,
to
yeah,
us. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
We'll
yeah,
have
yeah.
it all at the bottom. Your Twitter.
Yeah.
What is it called? So people can
Uh,
hear it.
So at the moment, it's Chocobro.
Mm.
But I will
Exciting.
be making, I will be making probably like another Twitter where I can
Mm,
collect all of my 3D stuff, like
mm.
just 3D stuff.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just kind of a mix.
Mm.
But yeah, I would say I'm most active on Twitter.
Are you open to commissions, or are you open for opportunities? I guess that's
Oh,
feel like a big one.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, you can message me LinkedIn, Twitter, anything
Mm.
really. Um, but yeah, I'm really open to commissions. Yeah, send me ideas, concepts, anything, and any other opportunities, companies, anything really.
Okay. Well, there you have it. We have a wonderful artist within our midst named Traz, and I am looking forward to all the amazing creative things that you will make. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for having me, friends.
Thank you very much, Traz. Thank you for coming on.